Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into some of the world's biggest belief systems. We're going to take a super quick tour and look at how people have tried to answer life's biggest questions. Let's jump right in.
And really, it all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? For thousands of years, cultures all over the world have created these incredible, complex traditions, all to tackle the huge questions of, why are we here? How should we live? And what happens after? So let's frame this as a journey, a trip across time and space. We'll start in the ancient Middle East, then head east to the Indian subcontinent, and wrap things up in East Asia. Along the way, we'll see how these incredible ideas grew and changed.
Okay, first stop, the Abrahamic religions. We're talking about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And what's fascinating is they all trace their spiritual roots back to one guy, Abraham. They're all connected by this core idea of a special agreement, a covenant with God.
And this timeline, well, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? You've got Judaism popping up over 3,000 years ago. Then, about 1,000 years later, Christianity emerges. And then, around the 7th century, Islam. It's so clear how they're all linked, each one kind of building on what came before, creating this amazing interconnected history.
So what's the one thing that really ties them all together? It's monotheism, the belief in one and only one God. But here's the key. This isn't some far-off, distant deity. The idea is that this God actually talks to people, right? Through prophets and holy books, revealing the how-to guide for living a good life.
Now, even though they come from the same root, you can see they each have their own flavor. Judaism really centers on the covenant, that sacred pact that defines a whole way of life. For Christianity, the big idea is salvation, right? This concept of being saved has fueled everything from art to exploration. And then in Islam, it's submission, which is about finding this deep inner peace by living in sync with God's will. Okay, so now let's pack our bags and head east, because the whole way of looking at these big questions is about to change. A lot.
All right, we've arrived in the Indian subcontinent, the birthplace of the Dharmic traditions. And right away, you'll notice a huge shift. We're not talking about a deal with a single creator anymore. Instead, the whole philosophy is built around this idea that life is just one part of a massive, endless cycle.
And that cycle has a name, samsara. Think of it as the engine of existence for both Hinduism and Buddhism. The basic idea is that everything you do, your karma, matters. It creates ripples, consequences, that decide what your next life is going to look like. Do good things, you get a better go-around. Do not so good things, well, life gets a bit tougher.
So it's this continuous loop, right? You're born, you live your life, you act, you die, and then boom, you're reborn. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. The ultimate goal isn't to get a better and better spot on this cosmic Ferris wheel. The goal is to get off the ride completely.
And this is where Hinduism and Buddhism offer slightly different roadmaps to that escape. In Hinduism, the end goal is something called moksha. That's total liberation from the cycle, where you merge back into the universal soul, Brahman. But in Buddhism, the destination is nirvana. This is a state of just profound peace, which you get to by snuffing out all the cravings and attachments that cause suffering and keep that wheel of samsara turning.
Okay, for the last leg of our journey, we're heading to East Asia. And here we find a whole new perspective. The focus isn't so much on being saved or breaking free from a cycle. It's all about finding balance and harmony with the world around you, both the natural and the spiritual.
I love this quote because it just nails the feeling of a philosophy like Taoism. It's not about fighting against the current of life. It's about moving with it, Like water flowing around rocks. It's all about finding your rhythm, getting in sync with the universe instead of trying to bend it to your will.
So yeah, it really is all about balance. For Taoism, that means getting in tune with the Tao, this sort of unseen, natural energy that flows through everything. And in Shinto, the indigenous tradition of Japan, it's about finding harmony with the kami. These are the sacred spirits that are believed to be in, well, everything. Nature, special places, and even your own ancestors.
So as we bring this all together, it's just incredible to look back and see the sheer variety, right? You've got this idea of a personal agreement with God, then you have an endless cycle of birth and rebirth, and then a search for harmony with nature. It's pretty clear there's no single path humans have taken to find meaning. And the scale of this is just mind-blowing. The few traditions we just flew through, they guide the lives of more than 5 billion people. Think about that. That's most of humanity, right there.
navigating life through these ancient but still living, still evolving belief systems.
But what's really interesting is that even with all their differences, you start to see these common threads. Every single one of them offers a way to find purpose. They all provide some kind of moral compass, a guide on how to live and treat people. They build communities, and they all give some kind of answer, some kind of hope for that big question of what happens when this life is over.
And that brings us full circle, right back to the beginning. It doesn't matter if the end goal is called salvation, or moksha, or harmony. It seems like all of these paths are pointing to the same thing, this deep, universal human need to feel connected, to find some meaning in this huge, mysterious universe. So I'll leave you with this. What do you think that fundamental need really is?